My name is Tembani Pukula. I'm the regulator member and the chairperson of the Energy Regulator. May I welcome you to our meeting. It's meeting number 291 of the Energy Regulator. It is not going to be a long meeting. I would like to start by introducing the members of the Energy Regulator for you to be able to recognize and calibrate their voices, as we do not have the video part in the link. I will start with the Deputy Chairperson of the Energy Regulator. It's Ms. Sandile Mpungose. Ms. Mpungose, if you could greet and allow the members of the public to calibrate your voice.
Good morning, Chairperson. Good morning, everyone. And just morning to members of the public who have joined our session. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Mpungose. Next will be the CEO of NASA, Advocate Sithole.
Good morning, Chairperson and members and everyone who have joined us this morning. Thank you.
Thank you, Advocate Sithole. I will come to the member primarily responsible for electricity regulation as well as pipe gas regulation at NASA, Ms. Mfundo Maseti.
Morning, Chairperson. Good morning to the members as well as the members of the public who are observing our meeting today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Maseti. Next will be the chairperson of the Finance Committee, Ms. Tembeka Semane.
Morning, Chair, and morning, everyone.
Thank you, Ms. Semane. Next will be the member primarily responsible for petroleum pipelines regulation at NASA, Mr. Muzuvugile Mkhize.
Good morning, Chairperson. Good morning, members and management, as well as members of the public following us through the various live streaming platforms. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mkhize. The next member is the chairperson of our IT Governance Committee and member of other committees at NASA, Mr. Fungai Sibanda.
Good morning, Chairperson, NASA colleagues and members of the public. Thank you.
Thank you. And finally, we have the chairperson of the Audit and Risk Committee and a member of various subcommittees of the Energy Regulator, Ms. Precious Sibiya.
Good morning, everyone, and good morning to the members of the public joining us on this platform. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Sibiya. Members of the public, those are the members of the Energy Regulator who will be deliberating on the matters that we have on the agenda and who would be making the decisions. We are now going to adopt the agenda. The agenda is on item number 3. May I get any indication from the members of the Energy Regulator if they are happy to adopt the agenda or if they would want any modifications? If none, members, may you please Ms. Maseti?
Yes, for the adoption, Chairperson. Thank you.
Okay. Please, may you raise your hands. I already have Ms. Maseti's hands to adopt the agenda. Ms. Semane, Ms. Mkhize, Ms. Sibiya. I'm seeing my hands here, and Ms. Mpungose. Thank you. There, and Mr. Sibanda. Thank you. And Advocate Sithole, the agenda is adopted. We are now going to move on to item number 4. Item number 4 is the declaration of interest on the regulatory matters. And I would like to request any member who has a declaration to make verbally, if they would indicate so by raising their hands. And I think, Ms. Sibiya, your hand is the old one, so you don't have any matter to declare. I think Ms. Sibiya's hand is the old one. So members, can I just request that if you could complete the declaration of interest forms and submit them to FAY through the link that has been provided. We are now going to move, members and colleagues, to item number 5. Item number 5 is the report from the chairperson of the Petroleum Pipeline Subcommittee, Mr. Mkhize. Mr. Mkhize, please take us through 5.1.
Thank you, Chairperson. This item relates to the Transnet Stock Limited tariff application for its petroleum pipeline system for the 2025-2026 financial year, as well as the 2026-27 financial year. You'll note, Chairperson, that previously they were applying for on a year basis, and this time around they applied for 2 years, covering 2 years. We would like to move to a situation where they apply for 3 years or even more. The challenge that is currently is that they've been putting assets into their regulatory asset base, and therefore requiring that we look at this on an annual basis. The request to the energy regulator from the Petroleum Pipeline Subcommittee is for the regulator to set tariffs for the Transnet Petroleum Pipeline system, to approve the allowable revenue of 7,833.70 million for the 2025-26 financial year, and 8,397.71 million for the 2026-27 financial year for this Transnet pipeline system, as well as to approve the decision and reasons for decision document on the Transnet tariff application for its Petroleum pipeline system for the 2025-26 financial year, as well as the 2026-27 financial year, which is attached as Annexure A to the submission. Chairperson, this time around, Transnet was able to lodge the application on time in August, and the application from their side was they requested an allowable revenue of 8,710.16 million, with based on a volume of 15,767.46 million. That marked an increase of 20.77% from the determination made by NERSA on the 2024-25 decision. And then this translated then to an RO tariff of 81.34 cents per litre, which is a 19.61%, which at the end of the day then will translate into an increase of 13.34 cents per litre on the fuel side. This increase put forward by Transnet in terms of revenue is influenced by the deferred or approved revenue for NERSA with an amount of 8,800 million, which was for the 2024-25 financial year. It has now been included in this regulatory asset base as a regulated asset. There are also additional assets for maintenance and upgrade of the systems. These are prorated on the period in which they are operational. There is also the asset depreciation on the tight lining assets. These are the assets that it's mainly some pipelines and control systems that Transnet installed in view of the fact that they did not have the accumulator tanks at Durban to be able to have such capacity to control the intake multiple pipeline right from Durban. Sorry, they're just getting disturbed by my instrument here. And then there's also a 2023-25 attraction of clawback of 300.20 million in favor of Transnet. This is because of the volumes that have not been achieved as projected. And then there was an increase in operating expenses of 2.35% compared to the 2024-25 financial year. That then was the application from Transnet side. It is included in terms of the table 1 and table 2. If you just note them, they are on page 5 or in the green stamp pages of the submission. Transnet had lodged this application and also included the figure of allowable revenue of 8,691.61 million for 2026-27, which translated to a drop of 0.21% in the allowable revenue. which translated to a drop of 0.71% in the movement of the arrow tariff, finally translating to a drop of 0.58 cents per litre in the fuel price. We then, as NERSA, considered this tariff application. In considering the tariff application, the allowable revenue that the determination from NERSA side was 8,075.64 million rand, which is 11.97% increase, which translate to an arrow tariff of 10.9% increase and a tariff increase of 7.41. We then, as NERSA, further considered the smoothing of these tariffs in view of the fact that there's a situation where there's a drop of the allowable revenue of minus 0.24% in allowable revenue, which translates into the tariff decrease of 0.74% and a decrease in the tariff of 0.5 cents per litre. This then was smoothened, resulting ultimately into an increase of 8.73% in allowable revenue, translating to a tariff movement of 7.69% and a cents per litre increase of 5.23 cents per litre for 25-26. And then in 26-27 is 5.71% increase, which translates into a 5.19% increase in the tariff, which in cents per litre is 3.80 cents per litre. NERSA only allowed the security and other preventative expenses with respect to product theft cost, and disallowed the costs that arose out of the environmental remediation. Also, the depreciation of the tightlining assets, the accelerated depreciation that Transnet had requested, it was disallowed in the sense that we would have a situation where it's like the consumers are paying for both the Term 1 tanks that are going to come later on and the tightlining, which they are not going to need to use thereafter. Also, there were changes that were due to the weighted average cost of capital calculations, where NERSA used the prime rate as proxy, whereas Transnet uses its actual cost of debt. Also, there were some costs in terms of operating expenses that were calculated by Transnet and NERSA that NERSA disallowed. I will leave it at that, Chairperson, but also just want to highlight that there is a study that is underway to look at the volumes, because we've seen volumes migrating away from the pipeline to other modes of transport. There is a project that I've also confirmed has been initiated, being done by independent consultant to look at that, because it is important to keep the tariffs for the pipeline efficient and cost effective, in the sense that a pipeline over the distances that we are looking at remains the most economic mode of transport, and is able to also save the country from other externality costs, for example, the pressure being exerted on the road infrastructure. I will leave it at that, Chairperson. Thank you. And then I will take any questions that maybe the members would like to pose, and with the assistance of my team. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mkhize, and thank you for reading the proposed decision onto the record as well. Members of the Energy Regulator, we have a submission in front of us. Any questions, comments, points of clarity or enhancement? Please raise your hand if you have a question. I do not see any hands from the members. So, Mr. Mkhize, may I just propose a few enhancements onto the document, and also maybe just ask a question. So the first one is, if you look at the summary page of the submission 6.7, that paragraph 6.7 is confusing in the way that it's been crafted, and it's better explained by the tables below, but it also introduces a 2.38 figure, which would have been the increase, which is not in any of the tables. My proposal is that either we restructure that table and make it like it is in the RFD, and not refer to the 2.38, because it doesn't seem to be adding any value, and it's not in those tables. The second enhancement I would like us to make is, when you're reading the document which we have summarized the RFD kind of as a summary of the document, if we could just, when we talk about the comparison within rail and road, if we could just refer to the table 10 that's on the RFD, so for the ease of reference when you're reading the summary to whet your appetite for what the RFD is saying. And then the last one is just a question that on the F factor, the way that Transnet had understood it is that they would qualify, but we have not allowed them the F factor. I just want to align with the reasoning that's there. So maybe if it could be explained, and I will also try and find this alignment from what is written in that. But I mean, I was looking at I think it's paragraph 6.31, where we're saying we're not allowing it. I haven't found it to be aligning with our methodology and what we have allowed in the past. Thank you, Mr. Mkhize.
Thank you. Just struggling with my instrument. Maybe Madam Bobo, if you may just come in. Meanwhile, I'm looking.
Good morning, members and colleagues. Chairperson, Transnet does not qualify for the F factor yet, and we are aligned on that front that they do not qualify, because they would only qualify if their sustainability ratios are affected. So I was just also looking for the paragraphs where we indicate this. I will indicate it as soon, but then they do not qualify for the F factor yet, because their sustainability ratios are not at the level that would require us to also allow additional revenues in the form of the F factor. I will indicate the paragraph as soon as I find it. Check.
It's 6.30 right up to 6.31, where you are talking about that they don't qualify. And I think maybe it is the way you have phrased it. Transnet has performed a calculation for the F factor equating to 2 times the debt service cover ratio for the years, as in it's in line with the NESA tariff. But I think it is that punchline that I'm requesting that we do, of saying that because it is not less than the 2 times ratio, that's why they do not qualify, as in line with the tariff methodology. Are you aligned with me, Ms. Bo?
Yes, Chairperson, we're aligned. We'll clarify that in the RFD as well. Thanks.
Thank you. Members, I do not see any other hands, and if there are no hands, may I then just go back to the decision? It has already been read out by Mr. Mkhize. If you could indicate by raising your hands if you are in support of approving the decision as read out by Mr. Mkhize. Got Ms. Maseti, Ms. Mbungose, Ms. Samane, Mr. Mkhize, Ms. Sibia, and Mr. Sibande and Advocate Sithole. Thank you. Mr. Mkhize, the decision of the regulator is approving your recommendations. Thank you. Colleagues, we are now going to move on to the next item on the agenda. The next item on the agenda, item number 6. This is now the report from the chairperson of the Piped Gas Subcommittee, Ms. Maseti. And I think, Ms. Maseti, we have 4 items. If you could start with item 6.1 then. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson. Thank you for the opportunity to present the matters that are coming out of the piped gas subcommittee. The first report, Chairperson, as you indicated, is item number 6 of today's agenda, and that is the final report on the strategy for a gas, renewable energy, as well as hydrogen partnership in South Africa. In this report, we are presenting the regulator's perspective. And this comes, if we were to give a context, this comes at the time when in South Africa we are facing a gas cliff, that is the looming depletion of the gas reserves in Mozambique, which is where we are importing natural gas, and that is the natural gas that we are regulating in South Africa, together with small volumes of methane-rich gas produced in Secunda by Sasol Gas. Chairperson, this is also in terms of our objectives stated in the Gas Act, which is to facilitate investment, but also to promote access to gas resources, and also ensuring a sustainable supply of gas services, as well as the gas as a molecule. This is a report, Chairperson, that was requested by the PGS in 2022, looking at the looming depletion of the resources from Mozambique, and also trying to look into sort of the role of gas from the perspective of the energy regulator, and within its regulatory advocacy perspective, to look at what role it could play, and also the fact that in our strategic risk, we also identified the lack of supply diversification, lack of competition when it comes to gas, and also depending on one supplier of gas. Now, this is the reaction to such strategic issues that we normally discuss, to then look into the strategy for gas, and also what are some of the options that may be considered in terms of sourcing gas to diversify, as well as to ensure security of supply for gas. Chairperson, I will take the report as having been read by the members, but what I would like to indicate is that this report, it also provides, which is very key in this instance, it provides some key supply options as to in the short term, medium term, and long term, where gas can be utilized and where gas can be sourced. So that is also a part of this report. And also, Chairperson, it provides ways in which the gas industry can be sort of the growth of the gas industry can be expedited, and also to ensure that gas not only becomes a reliable transitional energy source that supports decarbonization efforts, but it also facilitates the transition to low carbon, and to ensure a resilient economy by 2050. So it is something that we're looking at is from a short term, from a medium term, as well as from a long-term, Chairperson. Now, without getting into all of the details, Chairperson, I just want to point out that in terms of the summary, there are key issues that this document, or this strategy document, has looked into. On paragraph 4.6, if the members would like to make reference to the key issues. Now, when this report was presented at the PGS, the PGS needed clarification in terms of the status of the draft gas master plan. As we know that it is not our mandate, but all we do is provide comments and input into that process, and that is the process that is driven from the ministry's office. However, we made sure that the strategy will also align with some of the issues that are identified, like key principles of the gas master plan. We also took into account the SADC regional gas master plan when we have done the research in coming up with this strategy. The third issue that the PGS has looked at is the sequencing of recommendations to the energy regulator, saying that it would not be prudent to publish the report on the NERSA website before the consultation with the policymakers. And that also has been taken into consideration, as I will now read the recommendations, which are on paragraph 6. The recommendations are that the energy regulator is requested to note the final report concerning the development of the strategy for gas, renewable energy and hydrogen partnership in South Africa, which is the regulator's perspective. Secondly, to approve that the report be submitted to the Department of Electricity and Energy, as well as other stakeholders as part of the regulatory advocacy and engagement plan. Then the third one is to approve that the report be published on the NERSA website after the consultation with the Department of Electricity and Energy. That is all, Chairperson, in terms of this report. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Masetti. Members of the Energy Regulator, there's a report in front of us. Any questions, comments, or points that you would like Ms. Masetti to clarify? I don't see any hands that have been raised. In that case, I'm going to then request the members to indicate their support or approval of the recommendations by raising their hands. But Mr. Mkhize, Ms. Samane, Ms. Sibiya, Ms. Masetti, Advocate Sithole. We have enough numbers. Okay, I've got Mr. Sibanda and Ms. Mbungose. Thank you. We have the decision. And Ms. Samane, I think I've counted it. Thank you. Ms. Masetti, in that case, can we move on to the next item?
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, the next item is 6.2. 6.2 is the report of the Piped Gas Subcommittee in relation to an application that was filed by Natural Gas Vehicle Pty Ltd, that is NGV's application for maximum price of gas for the period starting May 2024 to 30 April 2025. Chairperson, what the energy regulator is requested to do is to approve the price that is on table 1 of the covering submission. You will see the components of that price. First of all, it will be the cost of gas, that is the cost at which NGV procures the gas. And then there's a trading part of that cost, which is covered in terms of regulation 4, sub 4 of the piped gas regulations. And then there is a profit as we approve prices that are at maximum levels, so that then there can be discounts that are provided, and those discounts must be provided in line with the differential pricing that is in terms of Section 22 of the Gas Act. There were no issues at the PGS, Chairperson, with regards to this matter. There were just some minor issues that the PGS requested the team to look into, mainly in terms of some balancing of calculations in terms of the trading cost, so that we make sure that there are no inaccurate differences that are reflected. Without wasting the regulator's time, I would like to take the regulator to paragraph 7, which are the recommendations for the decision that is sought. And the decision is that the energy regulator is requested to approve the NGV's maximum gas energy price of 365 rands, 2 cents per gigajoule for the period May 2024 and 30 April 2025. if members can just ignore that 6 that appears after 5 there, and also to note the cost of gas, which is the confidential there. The trading cost, you will see the trading costs are quite high, and that is because of the assets. And when we are dealing with these are your compressed natural gas. So they will be asset for the mother station, the daughter station, where they will now convert and compress the gas. So there are those assets that they have acquired that will enable them to trade in gas. Hence, then you see that those are the trading assets, and they cannot be recovered from a tariff, because a tariff is defined differently in the Gas Act, which is only the network, that is your transmission pipelines as well as your distribution pipelines. So there are no trading assets that are specifically considered under the tariff. Hence, you are seeing it there. And then there's also the profit component, which is in terms of our methodology, so that when you've got the cost of gas, you must put the profit so that you get to the maximum, and thereafter you discount. The second thing that is required for the decision is that the maximum price is for a period of 1 year and will not be adjusted. This is the approved maximum price, and it excludes VAT. As indicated, the discounts are allowed in terms of this maximum, so that the actual price then is charged in line with the principles of Section 22 of the Gas Act to avoid undue discrimination. And then the other recommendation is that the energy regulator's decision on this matter becomes the effective date of the maximum price for monitoring purposes, and the maximum price will therefore remain effective until the date of approval of another price. And lastly, Chairperson, the licensee is required to apply for the next maximum price at least 4 months before the expiry of the currently approved maximum price. And that will therefore monitor and insist after this decision that they prepare the new maximum price, as we are already in February. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Ms. Maseti. Members of the Energy Regulator, we have a submission in front of us. Any questions, comments, points to be clarified? Please indicate by raising your hand. Ms. Maseti, it looks like it's very clear. I am then going to request the members of the Energy Regulator if they could indicate their approval of the recommendations that you read out from 7.1 right up to 7.16 by raising their hand. I've got Mr. Mkize, Ms. Maseti, Ms. Samane, Advocate Sitole, Ms. Mbungos, Mrs. Banda, and Ms. Bia. Thank you. 6.2 is approved. Ms. Maseti, if you could take us to 6.3. Ms. Maseti, you may be muted. You're on 6.
Sorry, yes, you are right, Chair. I've just unmuted myself. I'm sorry about that. So this is another report, Chairperson, from the Pipe Gas Subcommittee, and it has to do with the application made by Columbus Stainless Pty Ltd. It is for a maximum gas price, and the period for that is July 2024 until 30 June 2025. Chairperson, in terms of the components of this maximum price, I would like to draw the attention of the members to Table 1. You will see the cost of gas, which is obviously confidential, and this is the price that they are paying when they procure gas from their supplier. And then there's a trading cost. The trading cost is quite little, and that is because where they are, they simply get the gas from the transmission pipelines in Middleburg, which is an old pipeline that was approved. And then that has been operating there. And then the third component there is just a profit component on the cost of gas, so that you get to the maximum. Chairperson, in terms of the PGS deliberations on this matter, it was just issues of ensuring that the team is thorough and accurate in the calculations, and also ensuring that there are no unexplained differences in the in the calculation. Then table 3 is just showing the calculations that were done by NERSA, comparing those calculations with what Columbus has calculated, and the differences are shown on that table. Now, I would like to take the members straight to the recommendations, Chairperson. The recommendations are on paragraph 7, and it is requested that the National Energy Regulator to approve Columbus Stainless application for a maximum price for the period July 2024 until 30 June 2025. And the aspects of that price are on table 6, which is what we need the energy regulator to approve. The cost of gas, trading cost, profit component to make up the 138 rands 89 cents per gigajoule per annum. And that is the maximum price. That price is for 1 year. It will not be adjusted. And this price excludes VAT, and that discounts are allowed when Columbus charges actual price to its own customers, and it must not unduly discriminate. The last thing is that the date of the energy regulator's decision will be the date of effectiveness of this price for monitoring purposes, and that price will remain until a new price is approved, and that Columbus is required to apply for a new price 4 months before the expiry currently approved price. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Ms. Massetti. Members of the regulator, there's a submission in front of us. Any questions, comments? Please indicate by raising your hand. If none, members, may you please indicate by raising your hand that you are in support of approving the recommendations from the Pipe Gas Subcommittee 7.11 right up to 7.15. I've got Mr. Mkize, Ms. Semane, Advocate Sitole, Mr. Spanda, Ms. Massetti, Ms. Mbungose. Thank you. Item 6.3 is approved. Ms. Massetti, can you take us to the next item, item 6.4?
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, 6.4 is a determination of inadequate competition in the pipe gas industry, and this is a requirement that is stated in Section 21(1)(p). This is a condition imposed on NERSA before NERSA could approve maximum prices. NERSA has to make sure that, first of all, it has satisfied that requirement that the state of competition is inadequate, and therefore it must regulate the price, or it must control the price, and then approve a price that would then mimic competition. So this report is also done on an annual basis, and then there's a comprehensive one that is done every 3 years. Now, in terms of this report, Chairperson, you will see that we looked at, first of all, the definition of the market, which is the key step, first of all, so that we can be able to zoom into where market power is, because that's the market power that will then manifest in high prices or exploitative prices. So before then we identified that market power, it was important for us to again revisit the definition of the market, and also because there were new entrants in the market, and the new entrants also included a car powership. I mentioned car powership specifically because we also received comments from the member of the energy regulator, Mr. Sibanda, with regards to the inclusion of car powership, even if it has not started operating or trading in the market. And that is so that we can also focus on potential competition, if that potential competition would exist, as a forward-looking in terms of the market that we are focusing on. So we have taken care of the comments by Mr. Sibanda, and they are included in the report, just to address that issue without necessarily saying that they are they are operating in the market. But the final findings, despite the entry of some small parties, some of them entered last year, some of them entered a year before. And we checked whether that has made a substantial change such that we need not worry about market power at all, so that we can curtail that market power. However, because of the limited supply of gas and some of these entrants, they are sourcing some small volumes of gas from Mozambique as well. So that did not change the position of dominance that is held by one supplier there, being Sasol. And therefore, the worry about excessive pricing and market power still remains. And the findings, if I were to then summarize, the findings are that the competition is still, the state of competition is still inadequate for us to not exercise our control over prices in the gas industry. The comments by the PGS are on paragraph 6 of the covering submission. I won't get into that, Chairperson. I would like to go straight to the recommendations. The recommendations are on paragraph 14. It is requested or recommended that the National Energy Regulator approves the final report on the 2024-2025 determination of inadequate competition in the pipe gas industry in terms of Section 21(1)(p) of the Gas Act, as attached here as an extra A. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Mr. Masetti. Members, we have a report that's been summarized by the presentation by the chairperson of the Pipe Gas Subcommittee. Questions, comments? Mr. Mkhize?
Thanks, Chairperson. I'm a member of PGS, and just for clarity on the issue of powership, the recommendation was the removal. That was what was put forth, and there was then agreement that be removed. As you note in the document under 5.4, we no longer have them. Just wanted to put more clarity on that. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mkhize, for that comment and point of clarity. Members, any other questions or points? If none, members, may you please indicate by raising your hands that you are in support of approving the recommendation of the Pipe Gas Subcommittee as read out by Ms. Masetti. But Ms. Samane, Mr. Mkhize, Ms. Mbungose, Ms. Masetti, Advocate Sitole, Mr. Spanda, and Ms. Bia. Thank you. 6.4 is approved. Ms. Masetti, I think the last item is really the minutes, 6.5. Any points that you would like members to note on the minutes?
Chairperson, nothing to note on the minutes, just to take questions if there are any questions of clarity from the members.
Thank you, Ms. Masetti. Yes, Ms. Masetti, please go ahead.
Chairperson, you may just for the record maybe just read out the dates of the minutes. Otherwise, I don't have specific issues to emphasize on the minutes. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Masetti. Will do. Members, any questions on the minutes? I think there's 4 sets of minutes that have been brought here. None. Mr. Ntanzi, RSU, I'm going to request that if we could improve on the minutes that are brought here. I think ideally we should have minutes of the previous meeting so that we can relate what we are approving to what we're seeing. I mean, when they are this much, we may not be able to clarify some of the points that we may need to clarify. But be that as it may, I'm sure that going forward we will improve on the minutes and have them done timeously. So members, if you could indicate by raising your hands if you're approving the minutes of the 14th of October, 7th of November, noting, sorry, 12th and 21st of October and 5th of December. Got Mr. Sabanda, Ms. Samane, Mr. Mkhize, Ms. Bia, Advocate Sitole, and Ms. Masetti, and Ms. Mbungose. Thank you. The minutes are noted. May I, at this point, thank the members of the public who have been listening to us or following our proceedings. Thank you for your time. And I still want to encourage you, those that would want to see improvements in the way that we run our meetings and in the way that we implement the legislation that we have been tasked to implement. The email of Ms. Faye Ngube, I think it's faye.ngube@nasa.org.za. We welcome improvements, and I think some of the changes we've made in our proceedings have been encouraged or suggested by you. So at this point, I'd like to thank you for the meeting. This meeting is now closed. We will now deal with the statutory and regulatory governance matters. Thank you. IT, Faye,